Did one of Apple's own suppliers just spill the beans? Did they just say the quiet part out loud? Did they just confirm the iPhone 15 Ultra Super No Button Edition? It's real? So, jumping right into this, story numero uno, the buttonless iPhone 15 jigamabobber thing was basically just confirmed by Apple's supplier, Cirrus Logic. Nailed it. Those are the peeps that actually make the things that make the Taptic engine feel like you're not pressing on nothing. Cirrus Logic sent out a letter to their shareholders this month that had some very sneaky little wording in there where they tried so hard not to say Apple specifically, but well, you'll see. The letter says, finally, we continue to engage with a strategic customer and expect to bring a new HPMS component, that's the Taptic engine thingy, to market in smartphones next year. Okay, so do you think we really don't know you're talking about Apple? You think it's not obvious? Who else are you talking about? BlackBerry? Why don't you just say it? Just say, Tim Cook wants a buttonless iPhone so he can save all of the unused buttons and eat them like cereal. It's obvious, people. Come on. So even though they worded that letter all clever and mysterious-like, their CEO, John Forsyth, just kind of took it a step further on an earnings call by saying that their new components will be making their way to market by the, quote, back half of next year.
We have signaled that we are working towards a timeline of bringing some additional HPMS content to market in the back half of next year.
Wonder what happens at the back half of the year there, John. Don't give it away all at once now, buddy. Well, there you go. Now you just look silly, everybody else, trying to make sneaky little words and dance around it when your CEO just went, I'ma just say it. Guys, let's just accept it. We're getting an iPhone of some kind without buttons. Kuo-Ming Chi said last month that it's going to be the Pro model, which is the lame way of saying Ultra. Shrimp Apple Pro also reported the same thing. Actually, I believe he was the first one to ever say this. And now Mr. Just Say It CEO spills the beans all over the floor. Those are three sources saying the exact same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, as far as my opinion, this is confirmed. This is happening 100%. When three sources, trusted sources, say the same exact thing, 100%, no doubty, 100%, it's gonna happen. The last time three sources said something, it was myself, Kuo-Ming Chi, and Mark Gurman, and we all said that the Apple Watch was gonna be flat. Who remembers that, though, really? Love it or hate it, this is a thing that's coming. Or not coming buttons. They're not coming with the... Okay. Just accept it. All right. Let Tim keep all of his unused buttons to do whatever he's going to do with unused buttons so that we can prepare to be even more upset the following year in 2024 when the iPhone 16 doesn't even have a charging port. No charging port and no buttons. Happy? No? I don't care. I can't even read your complaints because I don't know how to. Now you know. Now you know the cross that I bear. Hey, speaking of reading, there is so much of it to do. There is so much information out there, and it's hard to tell what's accurate. It's hard to get the whole story until now. That's why I'm really excited about today's sponsor, Ground News. Full disclosure, this is the news platform that I personally use every day. Just with a click or swipe, I can compare how stories are being covered by different news outlets in real time. And here's why I use it. As you know, news outlets can sort of cover the same story, like they can talk about the same facts, but the entire story can be twisted in a completely different direction based on who's the one reporting it. With Ground News, every story, I get data-driven analysis of the coverage. I can see bias, factuality, and ownership ratings for the news outlets reporting on a story. Get your news the way that you want, and the way that I get it. Visit ground.news/FPT, the link is down in the description, and subscribe for unlimited access. And right now, for Black Friday, you can get 40% off the top tier plan until December 2nd. Again, that's ground.news/FPT, and of course, a huge thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this episode. right, welcome back. So before we get into the next story, it is Thanksgiving here in America. We, the Toilet Squad, we are a family. Of course, Uncle Jern had to show up and make an episode. So if no one else has told you today, happy Thanksgiving. I'm glad we're spending it together. Okay, story numero lasto. This is technical and depressing and just generally upsetting, really. So buckle up, I guess. Maybe go grab a nice, hot, steamy cup of depresso. So, you know how Apple is all about privacy and touting how important user data security is? How secure and safe and comforting is that, huh? Just like a nice warm hug right from Tim himself. Yeah, well, maybe not so much that, as it turns out, maybe Tim Cook is a bastard man. Security researchers over on Twitter have discovered that Apple Analytics data actually contains some seriously identifiable data on, all users. This is all linked to their iCloud, and it links everything back to the individuals, names, addresses, just stuff. It's not good. This ain't good. To sum it up before all the techno babble starts, your device analytics data is not anonymous, turns out, even though they say it is. There's an option in settings where you can tell Apple not to track you, not to do this, and they're just there like, yeah, okay, we'll see. It's like when I go to McDonald's, you know how the burgers come default with ketchup and mustard? I don't want the ketchup, so I say, hey, I want a burger, please. Do not put the ketchup on there. And they're like, okay, sir, no ketchup. And it always comes with, it's the same thing. Apple tracking you even though you tell them not to, me getting ketchup on my burger, it's just as bad. The researchers found that in a unique identifier called DSLD, what? Isn't that like a type of camera? Anyhow, it's been found unique to each account that can link iCloud accounts to things like date of birth, email addresses, and full names. So this whole thing is kind of shocking, but whatever. Data gets collected sometimes, and lots of companies do this. But what if Apple specifically had a page where they told you the data that they collect was totally anonymous and untraceable? It turns out, yeah. They have one of those. That's why this is a big deal. I get it. But Google, but Samsung, yes, I know they track you too. I know everyone tracks you. But Apple's whole pitch is on the back of privacy. What is this? On Apple's device analytics and privacy legal page, they specifically say no information collected from devices for analytical purposes can be traced back to individual users. So which is it? Timothy? What gives, homie? This whole thing reminds me of that thing back a few years ago where people were like, hey, I think my iPhone slows down right before the new one comes out. And then people are like, nah, that's just a conspiracy theory. Don't be silly. But then it turns out that it was true and Apple was slowing your phone down, but they gave a good excuse. They're like, oh, we want to preserve battery or whatever. The fact is they were doing it. It came out. They were sued. It was a whole thing. So yeah, this is some sketchy stuff. You either care about privacy and data privacy or you don't. And you have been lying to users for a minute now. Time to get out your little Tim Cook typewriter and get a statement ready, because so far this whole situation can be represented with this emoji. So yeah, this is not a good look. Hopefully they have a good reason, but even if they do have a good reason, does the good reason even matter? Because they said they weren't going to do it, but then they are doing it, so why are they doing it? The question is why, Tim? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe we should all go back to BlackBerry. All in favor say aye.